Now that we're able to make the dogs as well as the stake move along the vertical axis, in this video, I'm going to walk you through how you can spawn the stake so you could actually feed all the animals running towards you. Before we get started, if you're having difficulty positioning your camera to have this particular look and feel, simply select the camera and then change the projection from perspective to orthographic. So this is perspective, then this is orthographic. Now you're going to study what you have in the scene view. So this is more or less the stake. Now you can see the position of your stake, and then this is the player. So we're actually going to spawn the stake from the position of the player because it's the player that is going to feed all the animals. So when the player moves to this position, the stake is going to move alongside the player. So how we're going to do that is actually simple. So I'm going to select the player controller script. So remember, this particular script is sitting on just this player. So when you select your stake, you discover that particular script is not sitting on it. So now having selected the player, you can see the script. I'm going to double click. So I'm going to write the script inside the void update. Now I'm going to click right here and press enter. So to make the player to spawn the stake, I'm going to first of all, we're going to declare a variable. So I'm going to call this public game object. So I'm going to call this with capital letter. Now let's use small letter rather. I'm going to call this meets projectiles because we're going to be shooting we're going to be feeding the animals rather. So we have this meat projectiles. So this is our reference variable to the stake. So we're going to go back to Unity. So having selected the player, you can see meat projectile. So it's looking for a reference to this variable. So I'm going to drag this to this place. So now we have the reference. So I'm going to go back this time around and we're going to continue with our script. Okay, so now I'm going to instantiate this. So what is instantiation? So basically the process of making the stake to spawn is it's tied to instantiation. So I'm going to type instantiate. Okay, so I'm going to close this. So I'm going to type the name. So the instantiation takes 3 parameters. So starting with the reference variable of the stake. So I'm going to copy this, Ctrl C. So I'll come right in here and press enter and paste rather. Now we're going to write transform dot position. So remember, transform dot position is referring to the position of the player, not the position of the stake. So remember, this is where the stake is, and then it's different from the position of the player, but we want the stake to be spawned from this position. Okay, meaning it's the player that is going to be spawning all the stake across the length of the game. So going back to our script, so transform dot position is actually the position of the player. So assuming I write meet rather projectiles the transform. Now this is actually, and then I'm come here and type in transform dot rotation. Okay, now this position is actually referring to the position of the stake, not the player, but we actually want it to spawn from the position of the player. So I'm going to erase this. Okay, so we want it to maintain the rotation, the particular rotation, the way it is actually rotated currently. So we want to maintain the rotation, and then want to maintain the position, and then here you have the name of the reference variable, which is the stake. So that is all you need to be able to instantiate. Okay, but then how do we instantiate? So we want it to instantiate the moment we press the space bar. So I'm going to come over here and write an if statement. So this time around I'm going to write input. So input dot get key down. Okay, so we're going to write get key down, and the key that we're going to be using is, let's say, key code. So we're going to be using the space bar. So we're going to be using the space bar and then your coily brakes. So whenever I press the space bar, we should be able to spawn a stack. So that is all I need in this code. Okay, so remember we'll have to come over here. So remember the player is actually, what do you call it, is actually a prefab. So I'll come right here and then I'm going to apply. So remember, so this is so since this is a prefab, we always have to come to override and then apply all. But then we actually have an information here that reads applying to a model prefab is not possible, meaning you don't have to apply this. This has been applied already. But then when you go to stack, going to override, discovered apply all is active. Let's quickly apply the script. So that is all we need to do. So I'm going to hit play this time around and then I'm going to press enter. Okay, so now you can see I can actually spawn the meats. Okay, so that is all I have for you in this video. So I'll see you guys in the next video.